Hi there, welcome to the Brown Lounge. I'm Holly Brown and today I'm making one of my very favorite pasta dishes, Fettuccini Alfredo. Now this is one of the first things I ever learned to make in terms of just home cooking. Fettuccini Alfredo was something that my girlfriend and I used to make up at home because it was just so simple. Cream, butter, and pasta and Parmesan. But I've spruced it up a little bit over the years and I've added some more simple ingredients, but some things that make it really delicious. Prosciutto for one, and a little bit of fresh asparagus. So that's really all you need. Some nice prosciutto, some fresh Parmesan cheese, unsalted butter, a little salt and white pepper, asparagus, of course your fettuccine, and just about a half a cup of whipping cream. So stick around, I'm going to show you how to make it. So the first step in this very quick prep dish is just to get your ingredients ready. And really, the two things that you need to do are make sure you've got your asparagus washed and trimmed, and then also get your Parmesan shredded too. Or shaved, sorry. So what you want to do, a couple things with asparagus, and there's different ways to cook asparagus, there's different ways to cut asparagus. This is what I like to do for this dish. I like to make sure that all of the woody ends are completely cut off, so there's none of that woody kind of tough end. And I like to cut it on the bias. And then some of the pieces I'm actually going to just cut just like this, very nicely, gently on the bias, like that. And if you prefer, you can also just trim off these little bits. I don't really worry about that so much unless they're really sort of egregious and tough. So that's up to you. The other thing I like to do just to give it a little beauty, and in this case you do have to cut off these bits. You want to get rid of the little spears, kind of those little edges right there, like that. Just at the area of the stalk. Again, cut the stalk off, the woody end of the stalk off. And then use your peeler to create these really just these pretty little twirls, like that. And just mix it up in the dish. So you've got a little bit of beauty coming from these little slices, just like that. If you have a mandolin, that's another way to do it, but this is just as easy. This is a vegetable peeler. So just do a few of your asparagus spears just like that, and then do some other ones, as I said, cut on the bias, and then you have a little bit of a different texture for each. So we're going to finish up our asparagus spears there, and then we want to do just some regular shaved Parmigiano Reggiano. And what makes this dish so wonderful is just really fresh ingredients. You've got your unsalted butter, you've got your heavy whipping cream, and then you've got your wonderful Parmigiano Reggiano. And all you do is you just take your shaver and gently shave about a cup of Parm. Just like that. And it's beautiful. So I'm going to finish that up, and then in the background I've got some water boiling because I want to get my fettuccine in there. I want to cook it al dente, and then I'm going to make my Alfredo sauce, put the fettuccine in the Alfredo sauce, toss with the prosciutto and the Parmesan cheese and the asparagus, and we'll be ready to go. So I'm just going to get the fettuccine into the boiling water. Actually, before I do, I'm going to take all the pretty asparagus that I just prepared, and I'm going to just grab a little bit of that boiling water, and I'm going to pour it over the asparagus just to soften it. I'm actually not going to cook it. I'm going to just incorporate it once the fettuccine and the Alfredo is all ready, but I want to soften it so that it's not tough. So I'm going to leave that over there. In the meantime, put the fettuccine into my pot. And we are definitely going to boil that until al dente. I usually go 1 or 2 minutes shy of the package directions because whenever I'm going to mix my pasta into a sauce, it's going to continue to cook. It's going to continue to get heated through. So I like to make it just slightly under what the package directions say. So we'll let that cook for about 8 minutes. We've got a little salt in the water. The pasta's done. So I'm just going to drain it over here in my colander. Just like that. Be careful you don't get the steam coming back on your face. And just shake it a little bit. Never rinse it. You don't want to rinse it with water. You don't want to get rid of all of that beautiful starch because the starch on the pasta is going to stick to the sauce, and you definitely need that. So I'm just going to put it right back in the pan. There we go. But what I am going to do, because it's going to sit for just a couple of minutes while I make the sauce, to keep it from sticking, I'm just going to put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in there. And just shake it around a bit so it'll be nice and ready for us when we're done with our Alfredo sauce. Step 3 is to make the Alfredo sauce. As I said before, this is a really fast prep. We're just going to bring a big saute pan up to right between medium and medium high, and we're going to melt a 1/4 cup of butter in the pan. And as soon as this whole piece of butter melts, and you can see it starts to sizzle, but before it starts to brown, you then want to start putting in alternately your cheese and your cream. And that is what makes your beautiful, rich Alfredo sauce. Now remember, the cream is cold or room temperature, but it's definitely, a different temperature than the hot butter, so you don't want them to separate, so just be very careful about that. Okay, there we go. Got some nice butter going on there. So now I'm going to add a little bit of my cheese. I've got about a cup of cheese here. Just going to throw that in. Stir it around, let it thicken. There we go. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit, so now it's on about medium. And I'm going to pour my cream in the middle of the pan and start getting it to stir around and commingle with my butter. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit more cheese. Continue to stir and mix it all in. Add a little bit more cream. You definitely need to manage your heat. If you start to feel the cheese sticking to the pan, just lower the heat a little bit. There we go. Nice. See how it's starting to really incorporate nicely there with the cream? A little bit more cheese. The reason for doing the alternate additions is really so you can just manage that cream sauce, that you're just getting the right combination and the right amounts of your cheese and your cream. Now I'm going to add my pasta. I'm actually going to turn the heat off so it doesn't cook any longer. I'm going to add my pasta to the sauce, and we want to mix that pasta up nicely. The pasta is still hot. Alright, now we're going to put the asparagus in. Just make sure you drain your asparagus first. Oops. There we go. It's perfect. The asparagus is al dente as well, but still nice and firm. I'm going to throw that in. And then we will plate our pasta right in the middle of a nice bistro plate like that. And we're going to just tear a few pieces of prosciutto over the top. Like that. Oops. And garnish with one last bit of shaved cheese. So there you go, one of my very favorite dishes, Fettuccini Alfredo with a little prosciutto and asparagus. It is delicious, it's fresh, it's perfect for springtime when the asparagus is in season. Definitely make this dish for your friends at home. They'll love it, and they'll love you for it. Just a little taste. Dish delish. See you next time on thebrownlounge.com.